Hey, Andrew here. FYI, throughout this review, we mispronounce Bheem's name as Beej. So, just try to hold your laughter back. You filthy bastard.
Welcome to Bad Amateurs. Today we are talking about the Indian sensation RRR or RRR. So Ian, tell the audience what RRR is.
RRR. Rise, Roar, Revolt. 3 hours of Indian-made action movie. It is a fictitious story about two legendary revolutionaries and their journey away from home before they started fighting for their country in the 1920s.
I enjoyed this movie a lot. I thought it was really good. You say it's an action movie, but it's a bunch of genres.
It's true.
It's a drama, it's action, it's a dance musical. I guess those would be the main three, right? There's some comedy, but it's sort of in a drama style comedy.
Yes.
Like it's just funny moments within the drama. Yeah, a lot of action, a lot of violence, a lot of death, but also a lot of celebration of life.
Yeah, there was the characters I thought were they had good arcs. It seemed to be satisfying in how it was written.
Yeah, so it's essentially the story of these two insanely crazy, talented characters from history that have been slightly pushed together in a way that's not really how it happened, but for entertainment purposes, these two different revolutionaries become friends, become enemies, and then become friends again in the story of rising up against British colonialism in 1920?
Yeah.
1920 India, in Delhi. And the two guys have both got their own goals that neither the other one doesn't know what they are. So it's like a sort of village warrior who wants to find a kidnapped girl from the village.
Yes.
And the other guy is also on a mission of vengeance against the British, but he wants to arm everyone in India so they can all rise up against the British.
Yeah, they're both heroes.
Yeah.
Aren't they?
And they both are like super committed to their to what they're doing, to the point of betraying people they love and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's some cool stuff going on there with that. And the way they show their friendship blossoming and then coming apart when they come to crossheads and then coming back again. I thought it was all really good, like heartwarming stuff. Wholesome.
Yes, it was wholesome, wasn't
Yeah.
it? That's a good word for it.
Yeah. Like the way these like Ram is helping out Beej. Like Ram is the guy who joins the police in an attempt to climb the ranks to get to where the guns are. And Beej is the guy who's trying to break into the consulate to get his sister back, who
Yes.
got kidnapped. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just evil. That British Empire, they're evil. Stealing children.
Yeah,
It was unnecessary.
And the whole reason they steal that kid is because she's one of those. She's got the skill of drawing little patterns on your hands.
And she's a lovely singer. She enchants all of them by drawing lovely pictures on your hands.
And singing.
And singing at you. And then, 2 coins. It's worth 2 coins and we're going to steal you. Look at the trouble it caused. It's worse than, killing John Wick's dog.
True.
Unnecessary.
What a good guy. Well, I was going to say they make the bad guys in this comically bad.
They do.
They are the bad guys, and there's no question they're the bad guys. Like right at the
That's
start,
good.
they seem like, they're not too bad, and then within a minute, they've stolen someone.
Yeah.
They still don't seem too bad. They've done that, and it seems like they've done that out of an ignorance of their position, or an assumption that they're better and all this. But when you're later on handing out nail whips and being like, the brown guy hasn't kneeled, and everything is turned up to 12 in terms of how racist they are and how cruel they are.
I think I appreciate that as a viewer. There's I know what's going on here. They're the bad guys. These other guys are the good guys.
Yeah.
And they're really bad. They're comically bad, and the other guys are comically good. And
right.
and as you say, everything's turned up to 12, so it's all quite satisfying.
There's things like Beej is hanging up in jail, and Ram is like with the bad guy, looking at him through the thing, going, "What are you going to do? He won't kneel." And he's like, we need to do this to him so it's as embarrassing as possible and hurts him for as long as possible. And then the chief of the British is like, "I see you've learned the ways of the empire."
Yes.
I was just like, yeah. These guys are the bad guys. Did you know? They're the bad guys. Did you see? Yeah. So, anyway, there's all these excellent action scenes. with crazy stuff happening that makes you like burst out at things that are going on that you will not expect to see. Like, for instance, the introduction of characters is always nuts. Like Ram arriving at the chaotic midpoint action scene on like a flaming chariot that flies through the air, and the camera cuts to just below him. It looks up, you can see him and the flaming chariot as it flips over and then smashes into the guy he's going to have a fight with, who then gets up and is fine.
Yeah.
It's like, this is excellent. It's like an anime. Everything is really intensely sensationalized.
Yeah. And it's been shot in a way that's really dramatic. You know, it's artfully shot. It's not shot in a way that I'm used to seeing.
So not only is the fighting and action like nuts in terms of how it's the set pieces and choreography. There's dances and songs.
Yeah.
So there's like a dance off between the Indians and the English, and then there's like the montage of friendship with the song about that friendship that's playing. I thought it was a little heavy-handed. It's like they're becoming friends, and it's playing a song that says, "These two are friends, but they have their own motives, and the other one will get in the way of the other one, and you know they're going to betray each other at some point, but God, they're such good friends."
Yeah, it was interesting. Throughout the whole movie, you had that where the song was the narrator, basically.
Yeah.
So that was interesting, and I enjoyed their montage, their friendship becoming friends montage. I enjoyed that one, which was less about song and less about dancing, and more about a bunch of things that they did together. I enjoyed that more than the big dance scenes, which I always find a bit cringy. But yeah, you're bound to get dance scenes.
You're bound to get dance scenes?
Yeah.
Why?
In a movie, I don't know.
There's always dance scenes. I remember in Lord of the Rings there was that big dance scene.
In movies made in India, seems to be they can't. They're always doing dance scenes. I don't know.
Applied
Certain
to
flair.
Everything on this. Yeah, it's like
we'll
flair.
Call it flair.
Flair. What's the other word? Flamboyance. Yeah. All of
energy, colour.
Well, almost like, it is like an anime in a way. We're stylized hard. Like someone turns their head, and it's not just turning their head, it's like the whole camera moves and it zooms, and there's a noise, and then like it zooms in on the eyes, and you see what they're looking at.
Yeah.
And then there's like, it cuts around to show the flames in the actual eyes to show that this is making their soul burn with intensity or whatever. You wouldn't see that in many American movies.
It's true.
And this seems to be, it's like an epic.
Well, they're not afraid, as you say, to make it stylish in their own way.
Yeah. And it was really fun. The whole thing was fun. It never really felt like, whenever there was a scene where bad stuff was happening, it didn't linger on it being tragic or whatever for too long. It always went back to being fun pretty quick. Like the intro, for example, where the girl gets kidnapped. It's like, oh no. But then straight after that it has the introduction to the other guy, to Ram. It shows him beating down like 10 million guys.
That's right, yeah. The uprising at the beginning, yeah. That's an excellent scene.
So you like this movie?
Yes, I enjoyed it. It was full of excellent scenes.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome too.
But also the story was satisfying in that, the characters had clear arcs. It was so spectacular. It was just so spectacular.
Alright, so the introduction of the characters basically tells you everything you need to know about what's going to happen in this movie in terms of its tone, and it tells you a lot about the characters. So when Ram is introduced, you find he's the guy with the moustache of the two main guys, and he's the guy who joined the cops to work his way up to get to the guns. And he is stationed in a little consulate in what looks like to be a desert with about 10,000 people protesting outside, and it's him and like 20 other guys guarding this crappy fence.
Yeah.
Someone throws a rock in and it breaks a picture, and the leader of the jail or wherever they're at says, "I want you to arrest that guy." He points to like one guy in the middle of the crowd, and all the cops are scared apart from Ram, who jumps over the fence and just starts working his way through the crowd to get to the guy, beating up everyone in his way and struggling through. And in the end, he brings the guy back, and he's all busted, and the guy's all busted, and he just washes his face and then gets back to work. And it's so demoralizing for the crowd that they all disperse, and he arrests the guy. And then the commander someone comments to him, "Man, that was scary." And he goes, not as scary as that guy. And he points at Ram. And you're like, man, this guy's committed. This guy's a hard ass. And he is not afraid. And that tells you Ram's story to start with. And you can be like, this guy's a badass. Everything about it was like, man, this guy's cool as at the end of that. Yes. And so moving forward, we are introduced to Beej.
All right. Well, when we're introduced to Beej, he is attempting to catch a wolf.
Yeah.
You don't really know the reason why, but he's trying to do it, and he's trying to lure it and trap it, and it's going quite well. He seems to be a strong man, unusually strong man of the forest. Okay, and and during all of this, he seems to be sort of spiritual and sort of one with nature as well. It pans out that a tiger gets involved in this situation as well. So he's evading a tiger and wolf. And he ends up, obviously, in the end, catching this tiger because he's stronger than it. He gets it on a chain. He's physically stronger than a tiger. And this tells us about Beej, that he's a good man. He's a good man in the jungle. He's a good man in the jungle. He's strong and...
You can kind of say he's determined and fearless. You haven't said any of that.
Okay.
Just like he's a good man.
Yeah,
he's a good man.
All right. He's determined and he's fearless. And seems to be one with the animals.
Yeah, so it's like this over-the-top intro to make all the women be like, ooh, look at this muscle man. And all the dudes are like, yeah, that'd be me. That's what I'd be doing.
I'd be stronger than a tiger too. So you see one of them as a ruthless military sort of policeman maybe, and the other guy is this sort of strong heartfelt jungle man. They're very determined men.
Not sort of shaken by danger. They'll still do what it takes, even if it's a struggle, even if they might die. And that colours their actions later, where they, betray their friendships because they're so committed to what they're going to do.
Mm.
So there's the running thread of goal being the ultimate, and not even reaching the goal. It's more like, I'm going to keep going for the goal, even if I don't make it. He says that when he's in the jail. Ram, he's like, I don't care if I get to my goal. I'll just I will always pursue my goal. I enjoyed it and I recommend it. It's 3 hours, but it's on Netflix, so you can watch it at your own leisure if you've got Netflix. But it should be mentioned when you watch this that the budget of this was $70 million and the budget of the most recent Thor movie was $200 million, and this is longer by some amount, and everything about it is looks way better, even though some of the CG is dodgy as. It feels like it's got some creative cinematography or something to sell each idea beyond that. So yeah, I thought it was fully worth your time and highly recommend it. What about you?
Yeah, I enjoyed this movie as well. It was quite different to what you usually, what we usually watch. So obviously it was more interesting than the things we've been watching, maybe.
It made me want to watch more movies like this, where there's crazy ideas, crazy action set piece ideas going on.
Yes, a nice bit of fun, sort of fearless fiction.
Yeah, because when you think about it, what would you rather be seeing? A scene where a bunch of people are dancing, or a scene where children are being beaten and it's horrendously tragic? It's well, if time is to be filled, dancing isn't the worst, especially if it's kind of done with in an earnest, sincere manner that doesn't scream like Hollywood pop money. It sort of more screams, this is how we are.
Yeah, it seems to promote a joyful way of life.
It's more authentic, yeah. It's like an authenticity to it.
What the goal in general, when the drama's not happening for everyone, seems to be enjoy life, and fight against oppressors of you enjoying your life. Because of the British Empire, geez, they were oppressive.
Why is it R16?
R16, there's a lot of blood. There's a lot of death. They kill a lot of people.
Yeah, but what's Infinity War? Half of the universe gets killed. Is that R16?
I mean, everyone in this dies in a bloody way, and when it comes to actual gore, that's what they take into account on R ratings. Got enough, you reckon?
Yeah.